Hello, everyone, and welcome again to Leaders Uncut. And today it is my pleasure to have with us Mark Westlake, who is the CEO and founder of GearBrain. Hello, Mark. How are you doing today in the cold weather of the East Coast?
I'm doing good. It's a pleasure to be here. It's nice and warm where I am.
It's nice and warm
as
where
long as
you
I
are.
don't go outside.
That's
As long as I don't go outside.
That's what matters the most. So I'm fascinated by what you have done and what you're doing with GearBrain. GearBrain is what you call the ultimate guide to the Internet of Things, IoT. A lot of people speak about IoT right now. I'm not sure a lot of people truly understand what IoT does and means for us as individuals, for businesses, as a society in general. But what you're doing, what the platform does, is really offer recommendations where people can research, discover, buy, and learn how to connect and optimize smart devices. So I'm going to hand it over to you now from there so that you can give a probably much better explanation than I could.
Yes, it's funny. I started this business because when IoT, you're right, people are learning IoT and Internet of Things, but really don't know what it is. And really, in simple terms, it's connecting devices through a wireless connection, right? And Internet piece became, because it was over the Internet, that's how you got the Internet of Things. And it was everything. It wasn't just computers. If you think about it, we went from connecting computers to computers, then people to computers. Now it's connecting everything to computers, right? Into the Internet. But when I started GearBrain, I started because no one was focusing on the consumer and helping them navigate this new connected world that was emerging. And I recognized that none of the manufacturers and the people who were playing in this space were doing a good enough job of educating consumers on the benefits that this new technology has to offer. So I created GearBrain, and after a couple of years of a content site, we've kind of created a marketplace. By adding in, I went out and got a patent for an IoT configurator, which again was kind of hard. So we simplified it by saying it's a compatibility find engine. Mm-hmm. And what that is, it's the ability for a user to search for compatibility of two or more devices across a single ecosystem. So in other words, if you have, I saw a lot of people having these devices, but none of them were connecting. There was a big interoperability problem. This compatibility find engine solves that problem for the consumer. It really helps them. You tell us the devices you have that connect, and tell us which ones you want to buy, and we'll show you how to buy it. We'll help you find it, buy it, set it up, manage it, troubleshoot it, and figure out the whole consumer journey for them.
And that is so critical, because I can imagine everybody loves to have a smart home, right? With every device interconnected, seamlessly working together. It really helps manage your house, your household, and what you're doing every day in it. But a lot of people have no idea where to start. So like you say, which product should I buy? How do I connect them all together? How I make sure everything is working? It seems almost like an impossible task. And there's really not much you can do without some guidance. And that's the guidance you provide on your side. This is why I think it's so important that you created something like that.
True. And we're kind of taking, what our compatibility find engine is, it's kind of manual. I call it manual AI, right? Mm-hmm. Because you tell it, and then you have to do the work by explaining to it, and then it comes back and shows you the results. We are creating GearBrain Assistant, which is our new AI-enhanced product. It's an AI-enhanced product recommendation engine. It kind of takes the compatibility of the content site, and what it does is it teaches the consumer what they need to know before they buy one of these products, without talking down to them, without talking, like Adam. It really guides them through the journey. So, for instance, if you want to buy a security camera, you'll just say, GearBrain Assistant, I want to buy a security camera. And it will start to ask you questions back that says, okay, do you want an indoor outdoor camera? Do you want it battery powered, or you want it wired? Do you want night vision? Do you want two-way talk? How do you want to store your, it'll lead you through all the questions, and then you'll learn, because what we've learned is the consumer isn't smart enough to know what to ask today. So we got to, again, continue to educate, because like perfect example, I just wrote an article. A lot of people don't know this, that there are a lot of smart devices in your house that will give you or help you get discounts on your homeowner's insurance. Not only, so you could buy a bunch of leak detectors for $40-$50, and you could save maybe 10%, 5% on your homeowner's insurance. So
there's a huge incentive right there. That's amazing.
And again, that's an education thing, and that's kind of what we're trying to do, is try to help the consumer. And again, and I get asked a lot of questions like, why do I want my refrigerator to be connected to the internet, right? Why do I want to connect it? I don't need one of those things. And in essence, you really do, because it's not that added expense. But what's interesting is your appliances today are becoming like your car. Do you remember how you used to have to bring your car in, the guy, leave it with the guy, and have to look at it? Now, you just bring it in, he plugs in into the OBD port, a little computer, and it reads the codes and tells him what's wrong.
Right.
Having a connected appliance does the same thing, but this time the guy doesn't have to come to your house. Yeah. He can actually dial in to that appliance, see what's wrong with it, and tell you, okay, it's going to cost you X amount of dollars. I got to get this part. I could be there Tuesday. And what you could do is say, okay, let me get back to you. And then you can call another guy and see if he can give you a better price. So you could do a lot of different things, and it's going to save you time and money.
It will, and it's inevitable. We are heading to having that level of interconnectivity. And it's true that experts predict that about 29 billion things or devices are going to be connected by 2030. My God. So the one thing I love is in your fridge, for example, you have one space for milk, one space for butter. And if you run out, your fridge is going to tell you, hey, you're almost running out of butter, time to buy some new butter when you put it on your list, right? So, things like that are very attractive to me anyway, and I think for most consumers, because, hey, it's an additional helper in the house that is there to make our lives easier.
Think about one of the interesting things I really like in smart appliances is they're all now focusing on energy consumption, right? And for sustainability. And one of the interesting technologies I saw was like in refrigerators. The refrigerators with AI will learn your patterns on how you open and close.
Yeah.
So, and they'll learn on how the temperature in your refrigerator will go up or down. And then after a period of time, it'll ask you, hey, if you want, I can adjust the temperature between 11 p.m. at night to 6 in the morning, raise it a little bit so that the cooling engine isn't running as much. So therefore you're not using any electricity, and it'll keep your food fine. It will be cold enough, and you'll save money, and that's when we start, technology like that and those things coming into home is making a house smart. Like we always kid, houses, when you talk about a smart home, they're not smart because you have to tell it. You have to do all the work. Now it's starting to learn, and eventually it's going to do it, and then we're really, truly going to have smart homes.
I think so too. I can imagine times in the future where you can go and lie on the beach and enjoy the sun, and your fridge is going to tell your car that your car needs to drive by itself, driverless. We won't need drivers anymore.
No.
The car is going to drive to the store. The robots at the store will put the food in your car. The car will bring the food back home, and you're still on the beach, sunbathing.
Yep. We'll have more me time.
Right. We're going to have more me time, and people are worried. I'm going to lose my job. How am I going to make money? There are going to be plenty of new ways to make money. This is what people have to understand. And I really believe that because of all this automation, we won't need as much money. That's my belief, that this is going to shift as well.
Yeah, and what's interesting, what I'm seeing is the price for these devices are starting to come down.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, there's still a lot of them made in China. So with the tariffs now in place, it could, but a lot of these companies were smart. They've kind of stockpiled a lot of their products. in the States before the first of the year, right, in 2025. So there's a lot of product here. So it shouldn't get hit too bad. But I think you're right. It's, again, we have to educate the consumer on why they would want to buy these, make it easy. The simplicity is the key, because if you look back on what Amazon did with the Echo smart speaker and how they gave the consumer a plug and play device, and the thing took off. That's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to make it easier and support the consumer in a way that they understand. You don't want to talk down to them. You also don't. You want to make sure you communicate the right message and the right information that's going to help them.
And not try to be too smart. I see so many companies, they use terms that 99% of the population do not understand. You really have to speak to your audience as you would speak to a 5-year-old. It has to be very simple, very streamlined, step by step. And then people feel less threatened to innovate or to try something different that maybe they have never thought of.
Yep. And there'll be new products coming out. I see some really good developments happening. Like, for instance, there's a trade association called the Home Connectivity Alliance, made up of all the manufacturers of smart appliances, HVAC systems, electrical systems, smart televisions. Now they got insurance companies involved. They really focus on the home and the long life products in the home. Your appliances, your electrical panel, your HVAC system, all the things that go with the home when you sell it. And what they're doing is they're doing a really nice job of getting everybody to work together to solve interoperability. So when you go into a home, you buy a home, if all the devices are connected, you'll be able to have an LG refrigerator talk to a Samsung stove, to a GE appliance, washer and dryer, as well as a Residio smart thermostat or a Schneider electrical panel, right? And you'll have one app, and it will give you, unified control and help you monitor energy usage. I mean, that's where they figured out that piece, which I think is really key, because it's making it easier for the user, and it's dealing with the products that, they're going to last 20 years. They should, hopefully. And now you'll have the ability to really leverage it and help that home become smart.
Yeah, and I think also manufacturers are going to facilitate service and product exchange. They're going to have to, because I anticipate that technology is going to evolve very, very quickly. And they may have to implement a model like Adobe did with all their platforms. You don't have to each time buy a new Photoshop version. They have an automatic upgrade. And I think manufacturers are going to have to start thinking this way, because of technology changing so fast. We're going to have plentiful options, and we're going to want to have the best of the best. And that could be a way to approach that potential challenge.
Totally right. And they're going to have to also be the ones responsible for the security, protecting the data, protecting access to the device, because as we've learned in the beginning of this journey, the consumer is not going to put a piece of software on a device just like they do their computer or their phone. They're just not going to do it. So you, as the manufacturer, have to make sure that the connection is secure, the device is secured as much as possible. You'll see a lot of that.
That will be, I think, something that they have no choice. They will have to have high levels of cybersecurity within their systems, otherwise they won't be able to sell, because the threat is huge. The threat is growing, but I think we're going to see some guidelines and laws that will force manufacturers or anyone selling anything related to the internet or any type of digital connectivity. They will have to have cybersecurity systems within their enterprise, their environment.
Yep, totally agree. Because it's just that's just the key. It's so important, and I always used to get a kick out of when my friends, when the smart speakers came out, there was like, well, those smart speakers, they're always listening, and I'm looking at them like, really, you're worried about a smart speaker? I'd be more worried about your phone, because they're always listening on your phone. Plus, they know where you go. At least a smart speaker is just in your house. You know?
Well, I think it's very possible to believe that probably privacy is gone, or maybe we're going to uncover a different type of privacy, because all of this is being disrupted right now.
Right. Totally. It's going to change the way everybody lives, and if they do it right, it'll be better for everybody. You know, I've seen it.
I think we have to think this way. I'm an eternal optimist. I always believe everything happens for a reason, and that technology is going to assist in a good way. But there are always bad players, and those will always exist. So we have to protect ourselves against them. But altogether, I think it's going to make our lives more streamlined and allow us to at least take a break once in a while.
I've been saying since day one when I started this business, if you've ever seen the movie Iron Man, Iron Man had Jarvis, which was the AI assistant, ran the house, but it also was in the suit. It went wherever he went. It was a wearable. It was, and I really believe we're all going to have something like that in our time, and we're getting closer. AI is helping us get there.
Right.
It's still got a lot to learn, because it's got to, be able to, right now it's pulling in all the information, and what we've learned with AI is it's about three things. It's about what you ask it and how you ask it, right? What are those prompts? Where does it go to get the data, right? To answer the question or answer the prompt. And then the third thing, which is the critical one, I think, is data governance. How do I know this is accurate? What is the source? What did you use? And we're part of, we've joined this association called C2PA for Content Creation Providence Association. It was started by Microsoft, Intel, and Adobe. And they're coming up with the manifest, the trust list, the specification on usage of data, images, videos, content, to assure that whatever's being used is watermarked and people know it's being used. So when you get an output, right, you're, from a LLM, or whether it's Gemini, Anthropic, Copilot, ChatGPT, they're going to start sourcing this information for you, so that that, oh, okay, I can trust this. This came from GearBrain, or this came from Microsoft, or this came from The Verge, whatever. So it's a viable source. Yeah. And I think that's important, because a lot of the AI is coming back wrong, because it's still learning. It takes tons. That's why what we're doing with our AI is we're teaching it. We're part of the Microsoft Azure AI's Founders Hub for startups. And what we're doing is we're teaching it based on our compatibility find engine. We have almost 5,000 products that we have their access. It's all the manufacturer's data. It's specs, owner's manual, setup guides, privacy statements, terms of service, everything. And we also have, what nobody has, is their compatibility data, what it works with, so how it combines. So we're pulling all that, and then all of our knowledge base of testing these products for the last 8 years in homes, and learning on what works, what doesn't work, what's good, what's bad, and teaching it so that when you ask it a question, it's going to go to our data first, and it's going to source everything from us to answer that question. And it'll answer it. Now, over time, as the market goes, we have to add more and more, but we figured out ways to add more and more product data, which will allow us to stay on top of all the new emerging technology. But what's interesting, I didn't realize this. Most manufacturers don't support a product after 2 years. You have a product that's going to be around 5 to 10 years. After 2 or 3 years, if something goes wrong, good luck trying to find the owner's manual setup problems.
That's a good point.
And that's where we're going to be. We're going to play the role there. We'll help you find it, because we'll help you keep it.
That's true. And I think you'll be able to manage your data a lot faster. I mean, quantum computing is here. Quantum computing is going to be accelerated in the next few years.
Oh yeah, that's the next. But really, it's going to take AI to a whole nother level.
Yeah, it will. So you have deals, right? You have regular deals on your website and people can
Yep.
check them out, right?
Yep, we have deals. We're always promoting what's products that we know that are good, that we've tested, that are and priced right, whether it's on Best Buy, Amazon. One of the things we're working on is helping people in our deals section. We're going to be able to, before you go to Amazon or Best Buy or Walmart or Home Depot, we'll be able to provide you, you tell us what you're looking for on those sites, and we'll show you all the products that fit the criteria that what you're looking for. So if you want a security camera, if you want a smart lock, you want an HVAC system, smart thermostats, we have all that stuff. And then if you want to know compatible with you, with what you have, you just tell us what you have, and then we'll show you all the products that are compatible and where you can buy them.
Wonderful. Yeah, no, this is such a great tool to have. That's going to be very helpful. So Mark, if someone wants to check out your website, can you share your domain name?
Sure, it's gearbrain.com. Just go to www.gearbrain.com. And if you want to check out the compatibility engine, excuse me, at the top, just hit on the My GearBrain, and you'll see in the header, it'll say, it'll have a drop-down menu that says Match Devices. That will add, just click Match Devices, and it will take you right into the configurator. And now you can start searching. And then product reviews, and then news, deals, you name it. We got it.
Easy peasy, very, very easy, very user-friendly platform. Well, I encourage everyone to visit gearbrain.com and see what Mark is doing there, and then leverage the services and the products that are there that can really help you interconnect, put interconnectivity within all your systems at home, so that you can relax a little bit more and know that everything is working the way it's supposed to.
Right, and the one thing I'll add to that is if you're searching for a product and you don't find it, just let us know, and within 24 hours we'll find it for you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Mark. So I always ask my guests something they could share, some experience you've had in life, something you overcame that would be motivational, inspirational to my audience. I think it's important to share this type of stories, because we always create something positive. So what would that be, Mark? What would you want to share?
Well, mine would be starting your own business, right? Starting a business is one of the hardest things I've ever experienced. Because especially coming from where I work for big companies, top 10 websites, and whenever there's something that has to be done, you turn around, there's always a team there to help you. Whereas all of a sudden, when you have an idea, you turn around, there's nobody there, and you got to figure out how to do it. And and I took GearBrain, and everybody looked at me like I had 3 heads, that I wanted to do a site about IoT for consumers, when everybody was just talking about industrial IoT and how it was connecting cars and engines and what buildings and stuff of that nature. So so my advice is, look, if you're passionate and you have the confidence and the willingness to really, there are going to be some dark days, but you fight through those days, and seeing your vision come to life is pretty cool. It's more rewarding than anything I've ever done. And GearBrain was an idea that I've had, that I always wanted to do. And when I left my last job, I said, you know what, I'm going to do this. And now I don't fit the criteria of most startups, which are those young entrepreneurs. But it doesn't matter. You can start anytime.
You have incredible success stories of people starting a business late in life and become extremely successful. First of all, because they have the resilience, and that's something you have to sharpen up your edges over time. You learn to do that. So resilience is huge, because I think it's 90% of people who start a business, they give up after year number 3 because it's too hard. They are not ready for that. So there's an advantage having a little bit of experience behind you.
Well, that's what I learned. Because I've done some things in the past, I've learned enough where I can do corners, and you kind of learn to pivot.
Yes.
You're going to pivot. If you start a business, you're going to pivot, all right? Because your idea might be right, but it might be slightly to the right and to the left or whatever, but it's okay. pivoting is not a bad thing. It's a good thing because you're adapting to the market. You're taking your idea and it's growing, and that's
yes,
what
yes.
I recognize.
But that is true. But I think the message, I think it's important to share here, and I believe this is what you're saying
Yeah,
too, Mark, is lifespan is growing. We're going to be able to live longer and healthier. So when people think, when they turn 55, 60, 65, I'm too old now to do anything. No, you have to shift that perspective and that mindset, because it can be the start of a new life. You can have 40 years in front of you. That's very possible with the improvement and the progress in the biotech world, in pharma. The medical world is changing drastically right now. So I think it's important to shift that mindset that I'm too old to do anything, and start putting in the universe that anything is still possible.
true. If you just put your mind to it and don't give up, and
Yeah.
your perseverance, you're right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we've been doing, and we've learned what works and what doesn't work, and we're able to adapt, but that comes from experience.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did it, because
That's wonderful. Well, good for you. Congratulations. I'm sure you're going to be very successful, and that's just the beginning of a great adventure for you.
well, thank you very much. I hope so. I'm with you.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much, Mark. It was great having you with us today on the show.
Well, thank you for having me, and best of luck.
Good, good. Everyone else, please share the story here. Share Mark's story, and also share his website, GearBrain.com, and you can connect with him too if you have any questions. But it's really worth looking at, first of all, the products that he has on his website and all the deals he has, but also educate yourself on IoT, the Internet of Things, and how all your systems in the house can be interconnected. It's going to be a thing of the very near future. Don't think it's going to take 10 years. It's coming to us at the speed of light, and it's anyway a great idea to learn, to educate yourself so that you can make the right decisions. And again, thank you for watching. Appreciate that. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's very helpful for me right now as I am growing it. I'm not charging for anything. I'm just doing this to help others. So you can help me by sharing all the videos that I post on my YouTube channel on your social media sites as well. Thank you again, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.